64 bits. 32 bits. 16 bits. 8-bit. 4-bit. 2-bit. 1-bit. Half-bit. Quarter-bit. Anyway.
Summertime, hanging out.
Hey, how do you know the Flying Dragon single already? Did we tell you about it?
Yeah.
I told you about Summertime?
Yeah, you told me about Summertime.
Oh.
Plus,
Well,
it's summertime. Woo woo! I got my tank out.
It's February.
I got my shorts on.
Shit.
I got my sunglasses on.
It's like the worst thing ever.
Right now it is 33 degrees in Illinois, in Aurora, Illinois, and I have come up with false memories and a false reality to cope with the seasonal changes that have plunged me into daily despair.
It was low-key kind of summertime yesterday. It was like 50.
Also, Vanessa's back! Woo! Guess where I found her? She was trying to buy liquor for her friends from Binny's. Now, we don't do that, okay?
Bimmy and Jimmy?
I love how your addition to bits is just including things from other bits to our bits. Improv would be fun. I think improv would be a fun thing for us to try. But for now, I'm just happy that my little girl's back. So you know what? We're gonna find a spot for her. Okay, there you go.
It's not working.
You can't really see her from down there, can you?
Did you hear that?
That was me sniffling.
Oh, no, you didn't hear that noise?
No.
Oh.
What noise?
Stupid ass sub pump makes a noise every 3 minutes. It's annoying.
Sub pump. Boo boo. Pump it up.
It's in the corner of this room. It's this corner over there.
That
sucks.
That corner?
Yeah, that corner.
You guys know what we're talking about,
that
right?
corner.
That corner.
This corner.
That corner. Anyway. No, man, I don't miss having a sump pump.
This corner.
Which for a really long time I thought meant sun pump. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a summer thing. It's related to water and heat and the way that they interact with one another. No. It's the word sump. Do you know what the word sump means? Because I sure don't.
He sump. But
it's called a sump pump. Or hold on, let me, before so callously implying that I know what that means. Sump. Pump. Hold on.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called a sump pump. I don't know what a sump is, but it sounds gross. It sounds like I shouldn't be saying it, you know? It's like kids shouldn't know what a sump is.
Sounds like something they'd use to make your tits bigger or something. I don't know. Sub pump.
Foul. Oh, so foul of you.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Kids are listening. I have my child right here.
Sorry.
Now, I know I can't do this every episode, but Vanessa's got to be here somehow. So let's just see if she fits. Nope, she does not fit there. She kind of fits. Kind of fits there, just having a little ear.
Here.
Because then I can't.
Oh my god, enough with Vanessa, Nick. Jesus.
Sorry, this is just my little girl. So I'll find a spot. We'll find a spot for her eventually, but she's gonna live here in the closet.
Look, this man's talking about summertime, and I got an alert over here that says winter weather advisory.
We got a concert tonight. We're gonna go see Early Eyes. I don't know where they're from, but they're coming to Chicago.
And thank God I got permission to go into work 2 hours later tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not going at 5. I'm going in at 7
a.m.
Yes. Which isn't great, but going in at 5 would be death.
Do you still work at Dick's?
Yes.
Oh, nice. They kept you?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I should probably do something about those. Because it's not actually summertime, but we can pretend. We can pretend that it is. So anyway, we're excited for the concert tonight. We have not talked about Early Eyes yet on the podcast. I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's going to be its own episode.
The next one when we talk about the show or whatever.
Yeah, because our talking about our favorites, because it's going to be like a year worth of podcast episodes, I think we can skip every once in a while in case there's a new game or a new album or a new movie to talk about. So next week we'll probably be talking about Early Eyes, but this week, this is a David episode, everybody. Bum bum ba bum no bum 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 bum. I'm trying to do the music that like Drew Gooden and Curtis Connor use on their channel sometimes. And it's like copyright free party music. So yeah, it's a David episode again. We're doing your top
Not quite.
Not quite.
Because we have to save the weekend for a guest podcast. So instead, I'm doing something that just... Master of Puppets, all right? It almost made the cut.
We're doing Master of Puppets. I know we talked about Master of Puppets last episode, and it was on all of the thumbnails and blah, blah, blah. Keep that all to yourself, please. Too much fan mail. We've been getting too much fan mail. Do you know how much it costs to send all that back? I'm not keeping those.
I mean, otherwise, I could pick any other album, but then you wouldn't hear it. You wouldn't have heard it. Like, I could bust out fucking some Deconstruction, this bitch, some Seventh Son, movie pictures.
And I've heard bits and pieces from all of those albums, but my goal, eventually, is, and this is way farther down the line than what is even feasible right now of thinking about, but eventually I want to get to a point where we're able to put together our own top lists of each other's top 10 albums list and rank each other's top 10 based on how much we enjoyed them. I think that could be a cool idea because you're all about ranking. I'm all about scratching the itch in my brain that tells me everything's got to be organized and putting things together in orders. So why not? Might as well start thinking about it right now, just on the off chance that we'll still be doing this a year and a half from now. I hope so. I hope that now that we've integrated doing the virtual podcast that we'll be able to...
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier. I think as long as we have a camera and a phone to do Zoom on, and as long as I have an iPad or a laptop or something if I'm on the road, assuming that I'm going to be on the road by next year. That's the goal, though. Yeah, assuming I can do some remote recording.
Well, you better be, Mr. Full-Time Musician.
Yeah, no. Yeah. We haven't talked about it on the podcast yet, but I don't have any other shitty jobs to really complain about anymore. I quit. I loosely let go of my position as a barista. I asked to be not put on the schedule anymore as a barista because I was only doing it once a week. And I'm still doing the music coordinator thing, so I'm booking music for the coffee shop. I'm hosting open mic at the coffee shop. I'm playing there every Sunday morning. And then I have my own shows, and I'm still teaching is the only thing it is directly music related, but it's not. It's, it's not like touring or recording or anything. It's not gonna help me become a better touring musician. Who knows? It could.
Maybe one of your kids is gonna get really famous, and then they'll bring you on their tour
in like 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, this is the guy who helped me sing. Please welcome Nick Scarpinato.
Woo! That's the guy from the Too Bad podcast, the Cars Pod. No, that's what people are gonna say. So I'm officially doing music now full time, which is wild, and I have some really exciting things in the chamber that are cooking. But it's not anything that I can really talk about until more solid plans are made for those ideas. So right now I'm focused on doing what I can, which is creating content with you, creating content for my shows and for myself, and eagerly awaiting what Pokemon Day is going to bring in like 9 days. So we got to get our cover ready, buddy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But anyway.
We're talking all my favorite shit. Almost. Number 15s.
Yeah, the least favorite of all of David's favorite shit.
Well, that's not true. Only games, because movies are in their own,
Yeah.
We're talking all our favorites in each genre. So.
Yeah, there's no ranking of those. So let's go ahead and start with our superhero movie, because that's our
all right.
Always our first topic. So
right.
I don't have any guesses as to what your favorite movie is, because the only at least Marvel movie, I'm assuming it's a Marvel movie, the only Marvel movie that we've seen together after which you've had reaction and review that were more than, yeah, that was pretty cool, was I think Shang-Chi. I think Shang-Chi was one of the very few Marvel movies that we came out of and you were like, yeah, that was really fucking good. And then I was like, yeah, it was. Otherwise...
Well, at least in recent years, this one's a little older.
Okay. Is it a team-up movie?
But anyway, go ahead and ask me. If you were to ask me, you want to watch a superhero movie right now?
Do you want to watch Do you want to watch a superhero movie right now?
Yeah, Nick, I do. You ask me, which one? If you only had to watch one.
Which one? If you only had to watch one. Can I do that over? Never mind.
Yeah, take two. No problem.
Which one? If you only had to watch one, what would it be?
It's the first Avengers.
Oh my god. I should have known. All right, we're talking about the Avengers.
Oh my. It's objectively, the other ones are better. It's not the best anymore. But it's so much goddamn fun.
Yeah.
Oh man, it has it all. And I remember having a reaction to this one, because I still even remember the fucking day we saw it.
Yeah.
Because it was like the only time I've ever seen a line out of a movie theater, because this was before seated seats.
Yeah, so you had to buy all of your tickets.
And like the side concessions were open, and I was like, this is the only time I ever saw that. That was crazy.
We were standing outside for a little bit. It was me, you, and Lopez. And I forget how early in the day it was, but it was still light outside. Granted, it was the summer, so it easily could have been like 6 p.m., but I wouldn't be surprised if we had to choose a showtime on like a Saturday or a Sunday during the day. Did we have to wait a week to see that? Did we see that like opening weekend?
I think we did. That's why there was so many people.
Yeah. I don't think it was the Friday though, and I don't think movie theaters were doing Thursday openings as much as they are now. Now it's just sort of the trend to do Thursday openings. You know, movie theaters have learned they learned from having their ticketing sites shut down or whatever, because everyone and their mom wanted to see Infinity War, or Age of Ultron. I don't think Age of Ultron was that popular, but
It was. It just wasn't that great.
yeah. Yeah. So Avengers.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that being a big deal when it came out. I think it was less of a big deal because it was not that it was less of a big deal, but I didn't know where my expectations were because it was such an unprecedented thing. There weren't very many series or franchises that had tried to do what the original Avengers did. And I didn't know what to expect. Everyone was praying for its downfall. Everyone wanted it to fail. I remember that. I remember reading all over the internet. People were like, "This isn't going to work. There's no way this is going to work. This is never going to work." And
how wrong they were. Get fucked, losers, because it was kick ass.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was like, if I had read comic books at that point, it would have been exactly what I thought an Avengers movie should look like. It had the campiness, it had the camaraderie, it had all of that, but I wasn't thinking about how cheesy it was when we first saw it. I wasn't thinking about how cheesy the one-liners were. I wasn't thinking about, how the costumes looked, or how bad Captain America's costume looked at sometimes with the mask. I was just like, I remember the scene where Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor are fighting in the forest, and seeing that for the first time, I pissed myself. In my head, but not in my actual pain. It was 10 years ago. I can't remember if I pissed myself.
Almost 11.
But
yeah.
Up in May.
I mean, shit, there's just so many good lines. That man's playing Galaga. I understood that reference. Doth mother know you're weareth her drapes? Fucking, and even the title card, I thought was so well done.
Yeah.
And nothing has come close until, Endgame. But, Loki shows up, beats their ass, steals his shit.
Yeah.
Coulson's like, what do we do? And then, the pan to Nick Fury, and then Avengers or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, come on.
I mean, and that's the first time you heard the Avengers theme, too, which is one of the most iconic superhero themes now. That Alvin Silvestri composed, the big... Oh, man. Oh, dude. And now it's like... I think it's easy... I think we talked about this before. We might have. But I think it's so easy to tell what is culturally significant to people our age and younger who are active on the internet. The pieces of media that are really significant to us are whatever we've been able to turn into a meme, right? Like, Breaking Bad memes are all over the place, but I don't think they would be if the show wasn't really fucking good. And if people didn't love the show, because there wouldn't otherwise be a passion to spread jokes all over the internet or use impressions of people, So I think the Avengers theme is the same thing, Like, there are a lot of memes and videos out there that use the Avengers theme song as like a joke or like a punchline. But I think it's only because we grew up with this movie and the MCU, and a lot of us cherish those memories of going to see it for the first time.
Yeah.
Dude, do you remember the 7-Eleven straws with the little toys at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. I cherish those. I had a bunch of those that I would play with, the Iron Man ones, the Thor ones. I think they had Captain America ones, but I think that was the one movie that I forgot to get them for. Yeah. What are you doing? Why do you look so confused?
Do I not have it anymore?
An Avengers thing?
Damn. Because I still had the Hulk one from that. It was in this little red Pokeball, but I guess I got rid of it, or it's still at home. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I still have it. Yeah. Yeah, dude, the Hulk was my favorite, and seeing him be like, it's like that third act. It's all about the third act. The Battle of New York is so iconic that when they brought it back in Endgame, I shit my ass. Just seeing it as at like a different angle and just like going back in time and like seeing it in the theater again, you know?
Yeah.
Oh.
That hit hard. Even though at that point it had only been it was like 7 years, because it was 2019 was Endgame. But still, man, it was, yeah, no, I agree. I think it's cool that the Battle in New York still had lasting ramifications in the MCU well beyond the release of the Avengers, you know, and that was like the snap of the first phase of the MCU, or the first two phases. And then obviously you get into Infinity War, and we're still dealing with the snap, and only recently have movies and shows in the MCU like stopped talking about, you know, what happened when we were gone for 5 years. But now we're gonna have to deal with Kang. Yeah, we've come so far since the original Avengers, and it's very cool to see that and be able to compare, you know, our experiences since then. When was the last time you saw the original Avengers?
I think when me and Haley went through it,
Yeah.
which was when I mean, not that my apartment was that long ago, but it feels like a long ago now.
Yeah, I mean,
but it might have been like a year now.
Yeah. And do you feel like she had the same reaction? I mean, obviously it's different circumstances. You're not in a movie theater with a bunch of similar-minded people. It's not seeing it for the first time for you, you know. But did she enjoy it?
Enough, but she liked Thor better.
The original Thor?
Yeah, which broke my heart, but it's fine. But yeah, dude, still that damn Hulk and Loki scene.
Yeah.
I still remember it. You couldn't even hear what Hulk said because everyone was laughing too hard.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that Loki was making a little...
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was making that noise until I saw the scene like months later.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was intense. I remember the swoop around, the iconic swoop around with all six of them. That was really hype. The when Cap says Hulk, smash. You know, that was, oh, dude, that was really good, because we hadn't heard, you know, Hulk smash since The Incredible Hulk, and that movie was, it depends on who you ask. It's
whatever.
But
it's whatever.
I feel like everyone in that movie got a little time to shine, and you forget how long it is. It's like 2.5 hours, and I think you forget how long it is when you watch it for the first time in a really long time, because it's so fun. It goes by so quickly, and obviously things with Joss Whedon in retrospect have been a little wonky, and some of the like scripting things, like you said, it's definitely not the best Avengers movie, but it's about that first time feeling, and what
it's not the best, but it's the most fun.
Yeah, it's about what the movie meant, you know, to, at least for me. It's about, I feel like that's also a similar, that's what the Avengers movies should be, you know. It should be an event. It should be like a big celebration of these characters, and they should be fun movies that you want to go see over and over again. And I think the only Avengers movie that didn't really do that was Age of Ultron, but they made up for it with Civil War. So now Civil War is Avengers 2.5.
Basically.
So, yeah. Also, remember Lego Avengers?
Yeah, I played the fuck out of that.
It's really good.
Not the no, I'm thinking of the Lego, like the Marvel superhero, not like actually Lego Avengers.
Yeah, I was talking about the Lego superhero.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't do was the races, because they suck dick, but everything else I did. I damn near 100% of that game. It was awesome.
Yeah. Why is it that races in superhero games just aren't fun?
Because races in any game suck ass. Where are they good besides an actual racing game? None, because they're fucking horrible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because most of the times developers can't program vehicles for some whatever reason. Yeah,
unless they're specifically trained, like they're the Forza people, you know. They're like, this is what a car should look like.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're vaguely European, but I feel like that's where a lot of the nice cars come from. Somewhere in Europe, it's the title card when like you open up on a Forza movie. It's just like somewhere in Europe, and it pans over like some mountains. Anyway, The Avengers is really fucking good. Go see it if you haven't seen it. Favorite superhero movie? I honestly think it's a pretty good contender. And thank you for sharing that with us, David.
Indeed.
So, The Avengers, super fun, super lighthearted, a big event in our childhoods and growing up, and still affecting us to this day as artists, as human beings, as friends, as lovers.
Speaking of still connecting to us, motherfucking Master of Puppets, man.
I was getting there. I was getting to that.
Well, too bad.
I
got it. This is my intro, damn it. I'm introing this shit.
That's fair. Okay, Master of Puppets, right? Where would it go in your honorable mentions? How close was it to 10? Like top 10?
I don't know if I would put it at 11, but it's at least one of the more important albums that just didn't make it.
Yeah.
And only because it was a long time ago, and I just like other shit more now.
Yeah.
But still doesn't change the fact that when Eddie busts the title track out in Stranger Things, I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
I still never got to that episode. I was watching Stranger Things with a girl, and when you're watching something with someone you like, you're not like, if you're not already dating, right? And someone comes over and you're like, hey, we should watch Stranger Things, or we should watch, whatever. If they say yes to that, there's a pretty good chance that if they're coming over to your place to watch something, you're not going to be watching a whole lot, if you know what I mean. And so I didn't catch a whole lot of Stranger Things, and we did not continue through season 4 because we stopped talking. So
nice.
Yeah. Hopefully she doesn't see this. Hopefully she doesn't still follow me on Instagram. But I guess it's too late. I already.
Well, yeah, you would be waiting a while because that was literally the last episode of the season, which was a 2.5 fucking hour episode.
No way.
Which
Absolutely
is just
not.
stupid. But
yeah,
that
I'm
scene
not
is
gonna,
awesome.
Yeah. It's so awesome that even the band Metallica uses it as footage at their concerts now. When they're playing Master of Puppets, in the background on that big ass screen, they'll play that scene from Stranger Things. And they fully embrace it, and that's awesome. Did you see the video of them inviting the actor backstage? Yeah, that's really cool. And the band, they're like, yeah, our kids, we watch Stranger Things with our kids, and like that was really cool. And I said, yeah, it is really cool, James.
Yeah, expose a lot more people to real Metallica that's not Enter Sandman.
Right, which is, I think this is a whole separate conversation entirely, but whenever you do have a song like that breaks into a piece of media that younger generations are getting access to, and they enjoy and want to get into that band or that artist, don't gatekeep shit. Don't be the guy that's like, oh, I've been listening to them longer than you have, so it's like, nah, man, if kids are willing to get into your shit or your favorite band's music, that should be a good thing, right? So anyway, that's my rant on gatekeeping. But Metallica is in the mainstream again, which is so weird. I never thought we'd be here. I never thought we'd get to this point. Because we always liked Metallica, but even we fell off eventually, Yeah. Do you remember the first time you heard Master of Puppets?
Do you remember when Mr. Marmingos brought it in and we had to do a journal writing about Orion?
Yeah, and we had to draw a picture and write a story to an 8.5-minute song. Was it 8.5, 9 minutes, something like that?
Yeah.
Purely instrumental, and
That was the first time I heard it.
That was the first time you heard it?
Yeah.
No, did you go home and listen to the whole album?
And I recognized, I was like, oh shit, my dad has that CD. Let me go listen to it. And then the second song I heard was the title track. Because I skipped Battery because I wanted to hear the song that's on the cover, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, Puppets was the second one. And then I listened to the whole thing.
Wow. So that was 6th grade. That was really early.
Yeah.
Do you remember exactly how you felt after listening to it for the first time? Were you...
I did not like Damage Inc.
I was going to say...
That's about all I remember.
I feel like with all of our favorite albums, it's very rare that you listen to it for the first time all the way through and love it the same way that you do, you know, days or months or years later after the fact once it hits your top 10 list, you know? Because sometimes it just takes time for an album or a piece of media to mean something to you. Sometimes it's immediate, and that's lovely. That's great. But other times it's the opposite, right? Where at first you really love it, and then later on you stop enjoying it as much, or you're more critical of it later. But yeah, Master of Puppets. So the first time Damage Inc. was not your jam.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah. What about now?
That's soon changed. The only song I don't really care for now is Disposable Heroes, which might be blasphemy for some.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, it's too long and not that interesting.
That's fair. I feel similarly.
But I love that chorus. So good.
Yeah.
Back to the front, you know, that whole part.
Oh yeah, that's Disposable Heroes.
Yeah.
I just assume that any song that I can't remember off the top of my head is probably a forgettable one, but there are moments in forgettable songs that you really like. You know.
Yeah, then Sanitarium would go on to be my favorite song by them.
Yeah, for a really
dethroning
long time.
Creeping Death after some time. So it wasn't my immediate favorite.
So you had already listened to Metallica before that, right?
No, it just became my favorite later on. But that was the first.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because very soon after that, that's when Death Magnetic came out. And then Josh. I still remember that whole thing. That's a whole fucking other subject. But
yeah.
Everything else, like Battery, of course, is still a great jam.
It's a great intro too.
The Thing That Should Not Be. I love the S&M version.
I was gonna say, I think The Thing That Should Not Be has one of the crunchiest, heaviest riffs I've ever heard. Just the chromatic bum 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 bana bum bana bum bana bum 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 bum. You know, it sounds like big ass footsteps.
Yeah,
you know, Godzilla footsteps coming at you.
But yeah, I just love what the symphony did with it for S&M. I thought it was really good. And then beyond that, then all we have left is Leper Messiah, which is the main riff is fun, but it's definitely the odd one out on here.
The only reason I remember Leper Messiah is I think there's footage of Lars having trouble. No, is that the Shortest Straw?
The Guitar Hero thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Shortest Straw.
Damn it. All right. Well, yeah, Leper Messiah, I keep confusing as something that goes on Justice, I guess. But, Leper Messiah is fun. I'm trying to remember exactly how that one...
Da-dum, ba-na-na-dum, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, yeah. It's a decent jam. It just... it's compared to everything else.
Oh, is that the one where Lars you can hear someone go 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, that's the intro. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah, and then of course Orion again is still like one of the best instrumentals.
Have you heard the Rodrigo and Gabriella version of that, the acoustic version?
I don't remember it. I think Josh showed that to me like fucking years ago, but I don't remember.
So that duo from that same album had a song in Breaking Bad that I recognized, the one that goes and I was like, oh shit, that's Rodrigo and Gabriella, because I bought that album and it had it had 2 discs. I couldn't remember if it was because it was a double album or if I got the deluxe version. But I found it at half price, and I was so surprised to find that album. But I was like, yeah, that's sick. And that version of Orion, I think Josh showed it to me too. But I listened to that version, I think, more times than the original version in my lifetime. Yeah. And then what's the end of Master of Puppets?
Damage Inc.
Damage Inc.
Yeah.
It's only 8 songs. That's wild. Like those first couple of albums that were just 8 songs long. I think it was Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All had 10, right? 10 or 11?
10.
Yeah, and then Justice also had 8?
9.
Yeah. So, for whatever reason in my head, I thought that a bunch of the first ones.
And then beyond that, there's like a million songs on every album. Yeah. Like over 10.
Yeah. I think 10 is a very solid. I feel like an album that has 10 to 12 songs is like perfect length. Anything more than 10 or more than 12 or less than 10 has to justify its length in some way, because for Sonic Highways it was like, oh yeah, each one was recorded with a different guest artist in a different city. That's cool. With Metallica, I couldn't ever tell you why Master and Ride the Lightning only had 8 songs. Maybe it was the length, and they could only physically print on like records a certain amount, because they were still cutting the tape back then too.
Yeah.
So it was like you only had so much space. But yeah, now when an album comes out,
maybe because back then they actually, like, when they wrote songs that weren't the greatest, they said, all right, let's not do this one.
Yeah.
Unlike now, where they just put everything.
Yeah. Because I will say, I don't think music marketing or music business has been any less harmful to the creative process than it is now. I feel like it's always kind of been, you have the creatives on one side, and it's like they want to do one thing, but then the music business people are here on the other end, and they're like, nah, you gotta, do this instead. I think that's always been a thing, and then you watch shit like Elvis, and you're like, oh yeah, that it's always been a thing, business people trying to like interrupt the creative process or get, a part of that.
Dude, I hated Elvis. That was a horrible movie.
Like Baz Luhrmann? Did he direct that one? I think so.
I don't know. Just that's we're not talking about that. It was just a disaster.
But yeah, I feel like with Metallica, they probably definitely had a little bit more creative freedom back then, because thrash metal was not a popular, like they were basically the band to popularize thrash metal. It was their first music video, One, on MTV, was really, really popular. And then, of course, they came out with the Black album, and that wasn't really thrash anymore. But at that point, it had gotten a lot of people to go back and listen to those old albums. And I remember there was a scene in the movie Old School where they play Master of Puppets out of like a van. And I remember thinking, oh, that's cool. But that just cemented to me that there were a lot of middle-aged men in the 2000s that really liked like the early Metallica albums. Now it's coming up on 40 years old. It's like 86, right? Was when it came out. Yeah. It's almost 40. It's almost a 40-year-old album. And it's like, it's wild to think that, because when we were younger, even in like 2007, an album being 40 years old meant that it came out in the 60s. And now it's like 20 years later, and time isn't real. Time is fake. Nothing matters. Nothing else matters.
Nice.
But thank you. Master of Puppets is it's a fine record. It's a good record. Do you believe it's their best record? Like, genuinely, from an objective standpoint.
Objectively, I kind of want to say Justice is, but I don't know. It's definitely, Justice is like the one that's like the elevated one. They went one step beyond. Actually, I believe that them losing to Jethro Tull that year for like the Grammy or whatever, I think that's what killed everything, and that's why they went to like the Black Album style, because like we went all out in this one and like didn't work, so fuck it, we're just gonna do this instead.
I mean, and that's fair, but
Puppets, it's definitely my favorite, but I'm teetering between best with this one and Justice.
Sure. Yeah, because I get what you're saying. I know Justice on a technical level was very impressive, even though you can't hear the bass. And but beyond that, I feel like the playing is really impressive, and the song writing, I never really paid attention to the actual words of Metallica songs until someone else had, after the fact, been like, hey, did you know that Master of Puppets was about drugs? And I was like, whoa. But I think One was the first song that I had actually listened to the lyrics for, like song-wise, partially because of Guitar Hero, but also partially because of the cleans in, the first however many minutes of that song. But yeah, so if you're listening to this on YouTube, or if you're whatever, like, let us know what your favorite Metallica album is, what you think their best is, because I think, like we mentioned in the beginning, this is not the last time we're going to talk about Metallica. Obviously, we're going to talk about 72 Seasons when that comes out in April.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're going to go see them when they play with Pantera. I think that's the first night. That they're in Chicago. We have to see them. Yeah. So you will definitely hear more about Metallica, but yeah, somewhere in the top 15 maybe albums, but yeah, there's no definitive spot for you.
I didn't feel like figuring out 11 to 20. I just fuck that. I don't feel like it.
That's fair. So we're gonna be talking about your number 9 then next week, which I'm gonna have to listen to our next episode. Yeah.
Do I? Oh, Zeus. It's the instrumental band I keep trying to make you listen to.
Yeah,
I showed you Echelon or Sheepdog or whatever.
Yeah, you showed me both of those. I have them both they pop up in my liked songs on Spotify every once in a while.
Yeah.
Also, I lied. Next episode is my number 9, so I have to figure that out. I have to nail that down. Anyway, all right. So,
but yeah, number 15 game.
You gamer.
I would I want to preface by giving just a few honorable mentions that I could go to 20, but I don't feel like it.
Sure.
But some of the honorable mentions are Uncharted 2, because Uncharted is a really good-ass series, and 2, people always say it's like 2 or 4 is their favorite, but 2 is really good. Mario Odyssey, which is just a fun-ass game to play.
Yeah. It's a fun-ass game.
Zelda Link Between Worlds. I think that's my favorite, like, 2D Zelda, because it's a lot of fun, especially with like mechanic and everything. And then Fire Red, of course.
Fire Red.
One of the first games I ever played in my life.
There's a lot of nostalgia. There's a lot of nostalgia in that one.
Yes.
I remember. This obviously isn't about Fire Red. We've talked about Fire Red and Leaf Green a couple of times on this podcast, but this is not one of those times. So if those are your honorable mentions, I don't know what your 15 is going to be, because my guess would have been any one of those, honestly, except for Uncharted. I haven't played the Uncharted series yet, but
yeah. Well, 15 is going to be Bioshock.
The OG Bioshock.
Yeah. By Take-Two Interactive, Ken Levine, whatever his name is, he's putting out a new game, Judas, which is literally just Bioshock, just called different. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's my number 15, but it's also Josh's number 1 favorite game of all time.
Goddamn.
I know Nikki Jakey made a video about it.
Yeah.
And really, it's a combination of, like, the plot twist in it is really good. There's a really good twist. That's really fun. But like the core gameplay and exploring Rapture is really why I like it.
Yeah.
Because like it's the underwater city and everyone in it is a psychopath. And there's the big daddies, which are a bitch, who you get to play as one in the second one. But yeah, you're going around Rapture. You get like the power in one hand and your weapon in the other hand, and you can like use them both. It's really fun. It's a really fun, interesting game that the setting really takes center stage.
What genre would you say Bioshock is?
It's a shooter.
Okay, is it a horror first-person shooter?
It
Because I've seen
it do be like that sometimes. There's like jump scares.
Yeah,
Or
it do
maybe
be kinda
just like
scary.
one.
I think it's the atmosphere. It's the fact that Big Daddy and the little sisters, what are
Yeah.
they called? They're
Yeah.
just little sister?
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, the fact that they're kind of the, Mr. X of these games where you can just find them wherever. They don't necessarily follow you around, but it's like you don't want to throw down with them the first time you see them.
Yeah, and unless you get close to them, they will never touch you. But you want to get them because you have to save or harvest the little sisters
Yeah.
to like power up. So you don't have to, but you kind of should.
Yeah, and that's another really interesting thing about this game that I've known about for a while because I was too scared to continue playing it when it came out, so I just watched footage from both endings where you either harvest all of the little sisters or you save them. And obviously saving all of the little sisters gets you the good ending.
Yeah.
But I don't know, is it the same character in the second game? No, right?
No.
Yeah. So
No, you play as I think his name is Jack, I think. I forget what the actual character's name, but no, 2 you play as a Big Daddy, and 3
the whole time.
Yeah, 3 you're infinite. It's fucking
Yeah.
Mr. Do It.
Yeah, dude. The Bioshock 3, I was so shocked, pun intended, when I saw the trailer for that for the first time because it legit I didn't expect to see Bioshock at the end of that trailer. It's so different on the surface it seems so different than the other
Yeah,
two
because
Bioshock
you're in the sky, so
Yeah.
it's like,
and
yeah.
it seems a lot more the atmosphere of being underwater and being scared and there's still a lot of mystery to solve, but it's so different because in the original Bioshock my only first impressions were, oh my god, this is scary. Oh my god, am I shooting up now? What are these needles and why do I have to use them all the time? And oh shit, I can use the Force. And that was cool.
Yeah, that's a really fun one. That's my favorite one. Just throw shit at people.
That was a game that came out in a time where I spent a lot of my game playing. I spent a lot of that playing rental games. I didn't buy a whole lot of games. One, because they were expensive, and I wasn't making my own money back then, so I had to like ask my mom to buy me a game, which it's like unless it's your birthday or Christmas, it's really hard to convince your parents to like buy you a game. At least it was for me. So I was like, can I go rent a game from Hollywood Video, which then became Game Crazy, and yeah.
Well, they were like one and the same. They're in the same building.
Yeah, I was trying to think if they switched Hollywood Video to something else for a while. I know Blockbuster rented games too, but I never rented from Blockbuster. But yeah, so I used to rent a lot of games on the 360 and on the PS2, but mostly the 360 from Hollywood Video. And Bioshock was one of the games that I rented. And you only had it for like a week, 2 weeks maybe, and you could extend it with more money if you wanted, but at that point you might as well have bought it. So that game, I remember I played Borderlands a lot because that takes a long time if you do all the side quests and stuff. But yeah, so I didn't play to the end of Bioshock, and I think partially that was because I was too scared. I was too scared to play the rest of it. But
yeah, well, I mean, it came out in 2007, which of course is known as the best year of video games ever.
Yeah. What else came out that year besides Halo 3?
Fucking yeah, Halo 3 came out, Bioshock, the Orange Box, Call of Duty 4.
Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what else, but there was a lot of big name games.
Was there a Grand Theft Auto game? When did Grand Theft Auto 4 come out? Was that 2008? I think that might have been a year or two later.
Yeah, I think that's a little later.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
They released a bunch of different versions of GTA 4 anyway, so
Oh, I think one of the Mass Effects came out.
maybe
Guitar Hero 3? Yo!
Guitar Hero 3 came out in 2007.
Yeah, the first Mass Effect, Diamond, a Simpsons game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Uncharted, the first one. So,
Look at that, dude.
2007 was a big year.
That really, us in middle school was really a golden era of video games and AAA games. Because I feel like PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo were all coming into their own, and they were all on equal footing for a really long time. And then I would say like those 3 years, maybe up until like 2011, like gaming was just, it was so good. And then once we got into high school and it was like 2011 onward, all of those old franchises put out like one more game, but it was developed by someone else, or like it was a spin-off and it was a different character or whatever. And then now, we're in our PS5 and Xbox Series X era. But gaming isn't the same. It's not the same landscape as it was. Like, there was DLC and there was online gaming back then, but there was a lot more of an emphasis on single player story mode games, and I don't think you see that a whole lot these days unless it's an Elder Scrolls game or like a From Software game, or something with a big director attached like Hideo Kojima or Guillermo del Toro or one of those, so it's kind of a shame, but it makes us look back on that era of games with that much more fondness, I think. So go us in middle school for having the best fucking video games.
Yeah.
You kids these days in your Fortnite.
Yeah, shit.
I
don't even know when I played it. It was after Infinite was already out, definitely. Because I got like the trio pack. Because, it was Josh's favorite game. I was like, I'll play any of my friends' favorite games ever. Fuck it. Yeah. Give me it. And I think I beat it in like 4 days or something. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, it's not that long, but I was kind of addicted. Like, you really get sucked into that shit.
Yeah. Hey, man, if it's a game that I will play whatever, because we've already played a couple of each other's top 15 games, and whatever else there is left to play that you highly recommend after I finish Breath of the Wild, then we'll get to that. But yeah, if you feel like it's good enough to recommend, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I'd recommend Bioshock to anyone. It's really good. But then again, I have 14 games I like more, so.
That's true. So I guess join us for the next episode. We're going to be switching things back to me for a little bit. We'll be talking about my number 9 album. We'll be talking about my number 14 game. Yeah, and we'll be talking about Early Eyes.
Fucking figure that shit out.
Yeah, we got some time. we got some time to figure it out. So in the meantime, be sure to check us out on YouTube. We upload segmented clips of all of our episodes there, and you get to see our faces, which is cool. Sometimes we do bits that are purely visual. You get to see David's magnificent haircut and the faces that he makes along the way. You get to see Vanessa. If you didn't know what Vanessa looked like, I'm not going to describe her to you now. It's too late. You have lost the right to hear me describe in detail how beautiful of a creature she is. But and you get to see our cars. You get to see the cars. So once again, we didn't talk about the car for this episode.
Wow. Oops.
Well, this is I think a 2002 Opel Speedster. There it is right there. And we'll just cut this. Should we cut this in the beginning of the episode? Nah, it's too late.
Yeah.
I think it's funnier if it goes at the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were talking about thrash metal. We picked the Speedster, the nice sports car. I have been Nick Scarpin Auto.
And I've been David Kabushi Cars. Woo!
This is the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into Cars podcast, episode 26. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.
Farewell.